All right, all right. Welcome to the off ramp. I am your host, Thomas Jason Anderson. Hey, happy New Year to everyone. If you haven't seen me since the New Year, happy New Year. Hope everyone had a blessed and happy holiday with their families. We're off to a rocking start this year. We've had a lot of posts on my Substack. One of which is the title of today's show, which is "Comply or Die." And it's interesting because I wrote a piece on this, and it's based upon the incidents that happened in Minneapolis with the woman who was the mother who was shot and killed by an ICE agent during some type of situation. It wasn't even an altercation. She was, for everyone who doesn't know yet, a woman. She was a 37-year-old woman mother. She was involved in some type of a protest of ICE. It was a passive protest, but they were blocking the streets, I guess, and they asked her to move. And when she went to move her car, or they asked her to get out of the car, and instead she tried to flee. And when she did, there was an ICE officer in front of her car, which she didn't see because she was looking at another ICE officer through her side window, and this ICE officer was over here where she couldn't see, and he shot her and killed her, shot her a few times in the face. And there's been a huge national debate. There have been riots, not riots, protests. There have been protests all over the country, actually. Um, and so it's a very this issue is a huge issue, and people are looking at it like it's a policing issue. It's a Trump administration issue. And I'm here to say that my own experience is this is an extension of what I call the comply or die system that has found a way to encapsulate almost all of American society and much of the world today, actually. So you hear a lot of people debating about fascism and socialism and communism and all these isms and all these ideologies. Well, they've all melted away for various reasons, the same way the church has kind of melted away in religion in our society. Um, it's all melted away, and now we're really down to the nitty gritty in all of our societies right now, in the West especially, and we're in that zone now where it's comply or die. That's where we're at, and that comply or die system that's in place, it's pervasive, and and we're seeing it now in Minneapolis with ICE shooting a white mother. Okay, we see it there, but this is the face of it in the white community. Finally, they've been shielded from this for so long. And other people who are watching this live right now, who are from other countries like Guyana or Venezuela right now, you guys know that in your countries, it's been comply or die for like everybody for a long time. And so I wrote a piece. You can go to my Substack. You can see on my Facebook page. I've posted it there as well. I wrote a piece just saying, the ramifications of a comply or die society. And if you want to, think of a good way today to look at what comply or die leads to, you can look at Guyana, where today I saw today a few hours ago a situation where the president of the country had to publicly state that he believes one of the ministers in his government that the way that a woman named Susan, the way that she explains herself with the properties that she's purchased in the United States, to him that's a good explanation. He believes in her, and which is fine for him to say, but this is a comply or die type situation in Guyana, and this is how comply or die. This is how it manifests itself in a nation like Guyana. So when you have a situation where you have a minister who comes under questionable, uh, someone comes out publicly and questions what they are doing financially, claiming impropriety, claiming that they are doing things that are wrong with their position in government to take money on the side or whatever. When that type of claim comes out, usually it is ignored most of the time. But when a claim like that comes out from a man who's under indictment in the United States and is currently under full OFAC sanctions, you have to look at that differently. You have to look at it. I know people are saying in Guyana, oh, no, but he's desperate. So he's just trying to blame someone else so he doesn't get in trouble. He can't get off the hook by pointing to ministers in the PPP. It's not going to get him off the hook. It's just not. Okay, his situation is his situation, regardless of what's going on with this minister of tourism, who was formerly the minister of housing in Guyana, right? So when that guy who's under indictment in Miami by a federal grand jury and who is under full OFAC sanctions, when he publicly comes out and says, "Hey, I'm telling you guys, I'm telling the world that this minister within the PPP, this person's corrupt, and here's the proof of it," and he puts out documents and whatnot. Well, that does make the situation different because now it becomes an international situation, right? In more ways than one. Remember, she's purchasing this minister, Susan, she's purchasing properties in South Florida. So this is an international situation. So with such a situation, right? If you had a proper functioning government in Guyana, the president of the country shouldn't be talking about the issue. See, in a comply or die situation politically, yeah, the president's going to talk because it's like a mobster situation. The guy, the most powerful guy in the country, vouches for blah blah blah. So that means no one can say otherwise. Let's comply or die. And what the president of Guyana has done, the position he's put this minister in now, is he said publicly he supports her explanation. So what that really says is he's saying to her, hey, you got to do whatever you have to do to clear your name publicly. If that means you have to hire some people to attack some people who are talking mess about you and making you look bad, do whatever you got to do. I don't care. But whatever you do, just make it go away because I've put my trust in you. I've publicly said I believe in you. So if she doesn't do whatever she has to do to clear her name, whatever that means, then she has to deal with the president of the country coming down on her. That's the situation she's in now. That's the comply or die scenario. The president of the country should not be talking about potential corruption with ministers within his government. Why are you doing that? That's mobster corruption type garbage. There are other entities within the government of Guyana that handle this stuff. There are other people that handle there should, if anything, say, hey, I have an investigation going. Get whoever you need. But when the president of the country steps in to put his office on such a situation that's an international situation in nature, well, now he's bringing the presidency of the entire country into this. And in some ways, it becomes an embarrassment because you got the situation where people are laughing because the minister claims that, she started off her illustrious business career selling chocolate candies from her house. And she just built from there to now buying multiple properties in Florida, United States. That's a great feat. And that's a great story. But most people don't believe that that's true, right? But now the president of the entire country is saying that's what happened. He's saying, yeah, she started her business career with chocolates or whatever. That's the word that's going around the country is whatever story that they're hearing from her is she started at humble beginnings and she built up from there to where she's at now, which could be the case. But the president of the country is now saying that's absolutely the case without any investigation, without anyone checking. And why would you want an investigation? Well, because the guy who brought up the allegations is currently under indictment in Miami and he's a sanctioned individual. He knows things, right? So, I mean, to put the presidency of the nation in the middle of this, it makes you wonder, right? But it is literally a situation where we're talking about comply or die. This isn't about, getting to the truth. It's not about transparency. It's about the big man with all the power vouching for a lower level minister. And once that vouch occurs, and no one better not say anything. That's how things are up. That's how when you start the comply or die type of government, this is what it leads to, where the president of a country is getting involved with a conversation or a debate about whether a minister in the country is corrupt. A country where the corruption is off the scales, where more than likely most ministers are corrupt, right? So this has taken it to a whole nother level. Now Susan, she has to do whatever it takes to clear her name. If that means that she has to sue people in court, she's going to sue people in court. She's going to do whatever it takes, go on a rampage. But at the end of the day, no one's asking the ultimate question. Well, is there a system in place in Guyana to ensure transparency, to ensure that these ministers, when a question arises, there's some type of entity in place that can investigate and say one way or the other what's happening? No, it's up to the minister to do it all. They've got to go run a media campaign now and destroy the dissenters, go after anyone who says anything bad about the PPP. This is the garbage. This is what a comply or die society leads to, a bunch of crap. And that's what this is right now. So yeah, people have been saying, hey, don't talk about Azzuddin Mohammed or this or that. So I'm not talking about, I have moved on. Now I'm talking about other corruption in the PPP. The Azruddin Muhammad, that was corruption in the PPP as well, guys. Yes, it was. That corruption made him break away, and so they're having a little fight now, but they're friends. Muhammad and Irfan Ali and they're all friends. Okay, come on now. It's just they're having some problems because of the corruption. There's way too much corruption. So I continue to recommend to the people in Guyana to push your representatives to try to get some type of system in place that is not a comply or die system. It's a system that actually is built on the laws and everybody gets judged the same way no matter what. That's what you need. I know I feel like I'm talking into a brick wall. I know everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's never gonna happen." I'm sure. But these guys in the PPP or the President Irfan Ali, they have an opportunity to put systems in place. They have an opportunity to become the most transparent government in the region, the most technologically advanced, the most transparent, the most, the society that runs by rule of law. They have a chance. But they're never going to get there by the president himself trying to vouch personally for some minister. I mean, come on, man. That's going backwards. And so let's back up to the United States and let's talk about Minnesota. So, like I said, exactly that people are saying he was in the PPP, so he knows it's true. And so, but with Minnesota, so here's the issue when we're talking Minnesota, right? Uh, for We're finally now seeing what people like myself have been complaining about in the United States since forever. I have been saying, hey man, my entire life, if I go out in public and I'm trying to enjoy myself as a private citizen, I keep running into law enforcement or other people in the community who feel they have the right to treat me like a criminal and make me comply or die. Literally. I've been in situations as a young man. Like I've been working since I was 12 years old. I used to work at this mall in Miami called Cutler Ridge Mall in high school, right? And when it came time for school clothes shopping, I had money, man, because I worked the whole summer. And so I would walk. I lived in a place called called Triangle Park in this area called Gould's, right? And I would walk to the mall, but to get there, I had to cut through the projects, which were called Chocolate City. So I'd walk through Chocolate City, and to get through Chocolate City, you could get to Cutler Ridge Mall if you took this little path through like it was like unclaimed vacant land with bushes, and it was like a jungle back there behind the projects, and there was a little foot trail, and so you could walk through there and it would save you like 5 block walk. So I would just cut through the projects, right? No big deal. I grew up in the projects in Miami, no big deal. Most people probably would never. You can look it up online, look up Chocolate City. Most people probably would never walk through those projects ever, let alone I was doing it and I would come back through the same footpath from the mall with $200 $300 worth of clothes and bags and shoes, just walking straight through the projects, right through the back trails, straight to my house. Never once had a problem, never once had an issue at all. The only time I ever had an issue was when I was inside the mall and shopping. What happens? I'm walking out of like JC Penney and I just feel a huge bump in my back. And the next thing you know, my face is against the wall and I'm handcuffed. And the police arrested me. And I was like, what's going on? And they dragged me back to JC Penney over to the shoe section I was in, and they had every single shoe box flipped open. The whole section was torn open, and there were all these undercover agents going through everything. And I was going, what's going on? They were like, well, we know you're a drug dealer, and we know you put some drugs in one of these shoe boxes, so you're doing some kind of drug deal. And so we came and got you. You're going to go to jail now. Wait until we find the drugs. And I was like, are you serious right now? So I'm getting beat up, I'm getting handcuffed, and all of that because they're claiming I'm dealing drugs. And of course, after an hour, there were no drugs, nothing at all, because I was shopping. But they couldn't believe that. So I was told I could never come back to the mall again, ever again. Here I am, someone who, and here's the thing, right? So in our society, people like to complain about the black community a lot and say that none of, whatever you want to say about us. Well, I grew up very poor. And like I said, I've been working since I was 12 years old. And here I am, I was about 15 years old using my paycheck that I earned from my job over the summer to purchase clothes, and I get banned from the mall. Totally banned. Why? Because I have my own money that I earned legitimately to shop in the mall, and they didn't like that. The only people they wanted shopping in that mall, if you were black, were people who were at the project selling drugs. If you were a drug dealer, you could shop at that mall all you wanted. But if you were a kid like me who had a regular job and you really worked hard, no, no, you were banned from the mall and you were accused of dealing drugs. Comply or die. Because what they were trying to send the message to me on at that young age was there is no lane for you to live a legitimate life. The only lane for you is criminal. And if you try to do something legitimate, we're going to arrest you anyway. That's the comply or die system in the United States. I experienced it young, so I'm going to repeat it again to you guys. I was banned from shopping at a mall just because I earned money legally. That same mall that I was banned from, I would walk from with hands full of clothes, and I would walk through a footpath of woods behind one of the most notorious murderous projects in all of South Florida, Chocolate City down in Goulds. I used to walk through it, never had a problem, ever, not once. In one of the most violent places in the world almost. But seriously, that's how bad Chocolate City the projects are there. I never had a problem with hands full of bags of brand new clothes. My problem was shopping in the mall with legitimate money because I wouldn't go out there and rob, steal, and kill for money. I wasn't allowed to shop in the mall. That's see, when I say this, people go, how could that be true? That's the system we've been living under this entire time. No one knows. No one pays attention. No one cares. Because when people like me say it, hey, there's a big problem here. Oh, you're just making it up. Oh, you're just trying to over exaggerate so you can play the victim. No. No. We have a serious problem. Okay. And I'll tell you where this comply or die thing came from, where I was being attacked as a young man. It didn't come from the Republican Party. It came from the Democrat Party. It came from Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton. You can go back in history. You can see Hillary and Bill went crazy on fighting crime in the inner city. And Hillary went so far as to call me and others who were like me at the time, super predators. That's right. When the first lady of the United States tells the country that all of these young black teenagers are super predators, all of them, guess what happens? Me, who works a regular job at 15 years old, when I go shopping in the mall, I get attacked by the police because the wife of the president has told the country young black men are super predators. That's the ramifications. That's the comply or die system. This isn't about Republican or Democrat at all. What this is about is people who have discovered in the Western world, especially, that comply or die is can make you a lot of money and can get you a lot of power. Okay, a boatload of power. And so that's what we're all living through. And what's happened is everyone is certain people have been shielded, like especially white women in our society have been shielded from this reality. And it's now busted right in front of their face and they're shocked. And you can see on in the Republican side of things, their media people are saying that all of these women, white women who are out here are upset about this Minneapolis shooting, that they've lost their mind, that they're crazy. Well, here's why they think that on the right side, because In the right side of politics in our country, the entire movement is comply or die. Period. All of these show hosts you see, they're hosts because they abide by the rule comply or die. There are so many people. I'll give you a perfect example. Charlie Kirk. What do you think that was about? Why do you think he was assassinated? That was a comply or die situation. And the reason why I say this is not about politics is because who knows who really killed Charlie Kirk? But the truth is, we all know why. We all know that he didn't comply with something for some reason. And him not complying ended in his death. Give you another example. The CEO of United Healthcare, that's comply or die. The Luigi guy was pissed off about the CEO and United Healthcare being basically a fraudulent health insurance company. Okay. And the CEO was not complying with the wants and needs of Mr. Luigi. And so he had to die. We are in a comply or die world. That's what Minnesota was. And it's spreading because on the right, I experienced it working. So I worked almost over 15 years in a Republican leaning think tank. It was funded mainly by the Scaife Mellon Foundation. People can look up the Scaife Mellon Foundation. That was the big funder of the group I worked for. Okay. And so being in that group, I went to fundraisers over at Turnberry and Aventura for the Resource Bank for Heritage Foundation. I met all the big names. I met, Clarence Thomas's wife and this and that, all these guys, right? And in the background, I worked with all of them. But don't you notice that whenever you look at black conservatives like Tim Scott or whoever it is, they all sound the same? Byron Donalds, they all sound the same. It's comply or die. They're complying. They're complying. If they don't comply, they can't be in politics. They can't even be in the party. And so that's why I'm an independent and I have my own platform now. And I do what I'm doing because I refused to comply with what the right wing people were asking me to do and were telling me to do. I refused. I wasn't going to comply. And so it has been a personal battle between me and them ever since, even though the Democrats really don't like me. So being independent is rough. But here's the thing. People need to understand this is a comply or die system we're under, where and die doesn't mean physical death, even though it could mean that ultimately. It means economic death, identity theft, death. So your identity is killed off. They know how to rig the social media algorithms to shadow ban you if you don't play with them. They know how to make sure that no newspapers will publish any of your work or any of that. They know how to silence. They will kill off whatever career you have if you do not comply with what they're telling you on the right, especially on the right. Now, here's the thing, it happens on the left too. Think about it, guys, on the left. You got people on the left. It's a comply or die situation where politically, if you don't comply with what the leadership is telling you to do, you don't have a career. It's impossible. And if you think about it, guys, this has gotten worse and worse and worse. And so we're finally to the point now where you're seeing white women shot in the middle of the street now. And what's going to be happening next is the general public is going to learn, oh, wait a minute, we can't depend on law enforcement at all. Law enforcement, they're a part of the bad guys. They're a part of the comply or die component here. They're the muscle in it. When people start to not trust law enforcement, that's when the whole thing collapses. That's when it all falls apart. And we're close to that. Okay. This thing in Minnesota has pushed us over the edge, I think. And if you look on the right, they are dead set on making sure everyone understands you comply or you die. If ICE comes to your workplace, if ICE comes to your home, if you don't open the door and let them in and let them do whatever they want to do to your house, then you die. This is where we're at on the right. This is how serious it is. So people need to wake up and realize they're not playing on the right. Trump and these guys aren't playing. You're either going to comply or you're going to die. They're not giving any other options. You can see Maduro. He tried to play them. Look what happened. Comply or die. They got rid of this guy. It's across the board. They're going to start telling Putin now, comply or die. They're going to start telling Chinese, comply or die. Everywhere you go, from top to bottom, for everyone watching this, you have to understand you either comply or you're done. Comply or die. That's all it is now. That's all that matters now. And trust me when I tell you, they have many, many, many tools in place to ensure that you comply. Many tools. So, yes, I had to talk about this today because it's imperative that people understand that we are under a system. This is not about individuals or parties or even ideologies. This is a system. It's a comply or die system. And if you're not complying, then you're dying. One or the other. That's how it goes. And so, for those of us who see this and who are fighting it, and you guys know this, if you see, support us, share our work, comment, challenge us. I am not above reproach. I am willing to be challenged. And so let's move on to Marco Rubio in Cuba. So the night that Venezuela was being Caracas was being attacked by our special forces, by our military, I said in the moment, I ran a live and I said in the moment, hey, we could be seeing, a future here. And I said, it's hard to imagine the future we're headed into, but to give you an idea of what that future looks like, imagine President Marco Rubio of Cuba. Like that would be the kind of future I think we're about to have. And what else would that look like if he was the president of Cuba? So I said that night. I've said it ever since, and you can see the administration. Other people are kind of whispering it here or there. Look, so many people hate that I say this because there are so many people who are truly anti-American that, from their perspective, it's impossible to get anything good done if you have any relationship with America. Which if that's just nonsensical. If you look at the evidence, many, many nations and many, many people do very, very well partnering with America. I'm not saying do whatever we say. I'm not saying comply or die, which is what we try to force on everybody. You don't have to take that. Okay. No one has to take the comply or die. Okay. Everyone has choices. We really do. All right. And so when it comes to the United States, yeah, I know the comply or die thing is serious, but if you can fight through it, if you can battle through it, then you have the potential of seeing Cuba becoming a free island nation that can thrive and become a linchpin for peace in the entire region, regardless of what has happened in the past. What everyone needs to understand is push away the politics, push away the past with whatever you think anyone is like. We're in a new realm of existence right now. Okay. And in this new realm, it's possible for Marco Rubio to be El Presidente of Cuba. Okay. And it's also very possible that he does a very good job. Why? Because first of all, he's going to have all the world looking at him. But secondly, I lived with many exiles, Cuban exiles in Miami most of my life. And I understand that from almost every single one of them, their dream is to make it so that their older relatives can go back to the homes that they owned back at home. They want to go back home. That's more important than anything else. They want to go back home. This is not about politics, man. This is way bigger than that. It's about family. It's about home. And if anyone could or would treasure Cuba as a home, it would be Marco Rubio. It would be any of these Cuban exiles. They love Cuba so much. They live it, they breathe it. It's everything for them. It would be great for one of them to be the next president. I'm not saying override what the Cuban people want there in Cuba. Of course, many of them are going to be opposed to anybody who's American or is in exile. They've been brainwashed for decades. Of course. But the nation needs to have an opportunity to see, to come out from underneath the dark blanket that's been thrown over them and to see what the world is really like without the dark Castro regime crap over their heads. And I'm telling you, without that over their heads, I think the world looks like a different place. And I think then it's already possible now for to be in a position where a guy like Rubio can become president of Cuba. I'm telling you, I think it will be a blessing for the region. I really do. I think it would. I think people would be shocked, not because I think Rubio's the best or because America's the best. No, no. It's just because I know that the reality has changed, and the change in reality in the region is going to benefit everyone no matter what. But why not have a guy who's already experienced an exile to put his hat in the ring to try to lead that island nation, that great island nation, those great people? I'm telling you, man, Cuba has a great opportunity for the people who are the haters and don't want to see these brothers get back together, these families get back together. Stop hating. All right, let them do their thing. Marco Rubio is just as Cuban as anyone living in Cuba right now. I promise you, if not more. Okay? I promise you. So, yes, Marco Rubio for president in Cuba. I'm all on board. With that said, guys, take care. I will talk to you later. Really enjoyed it. We'll talk soon, guys.
Now I'ma put it down like that. I'm leaving, I ain't coming back. You don't like the way I act anyway. You really don't have to react. Don't try to change my mind, in fact. Honey, I've already packed all my stuff. We're no longer kids, let's move on. And you are not my kid, so I'm done. Please don't make me pull my gun. Sorry boy, I can't be the one. You know it, yeah. Nothing lasts forever. You know that a change will make it better. You know that nothing lasts forever. You know that, yeah, change will make it better. There's no one to blame, you see. Maybe we're not meant to be. There are plenty more fish in the sea anyway. Every day's a different thing, so I'm not into wedding rings. It ain't personal, it's the way I think, yeah. You know it, nothing lasts forever. And you know